This is Ben Summer. I own and operate bandsLikeRush.com, a music discovery podcast and blog featuring up-and-coming progressive rock bands. Enjoy this video edition of the podcast and check out my own music. Visit my website at bensummer.com. If you sign up for the email list, you'll get 3 free downloads. This week I speak with the primary songwriter, lead singer, and guitarist for the Portland, Oregon-based prog rock band called the Mercury Tree. The band is one I'm very excited to feature because not only is the songwriting really inventive and original, not at all a clone of any classic prog band like Yes or Rush, but I myself identify with many of Ben's musical interests including jazz-inspired chops, really complex rhythms, and organic shifts in tempo within a song, which is kind of an unusual aspect to encounter. Today we hear 2 tracks from the band's self-titled debut EP. The songs are Running the Gamut and Preconceived Notions, so do listen in because I really can't emphasize how great the songs are and how promising I think the band's future is. This is Ben. This week's interview is with Ben Spies at bandsLikeRush.com. He is the lead singer, guitarist, what have you, of the West Coast-based band, the Mercury Tree. You guys are from Oregon, right, Ben?
That's right. Well, I moved here from Arizona, but I've lived here for about 6 years.
Right. So just tell me a little bit about the band, what your guys' history and background is, and what you guys are up to right now.
Well, basically, I moved to Portland looking for more like-minded musicians, and so I was able to put an actual band together back in 2006. That was with Mike Byrne and James Crutcher. Mike has since gone on to be hired by Smashing Pumpkins.
Oh, wow.
So we've gotten another drummer since then. Basically, we're trying to make really progressive, interesting music that doesn't fall into any of the current cliches. And like one of the things I think is really interesting is just all the potential in odd meters and different rhythms that have not really been exploited in popular music.
Yeah. So
I think that's a big thing we focus on.
Rhythm is kind of the main piece of aspect of music you're interested in these days anyway?
Yeah. Certainly when I started out, I couldn't play really fast. So one of the things I could do, though, was play strange rhythms. So
right.
Even though I've gotten faster since then, that's always been something I thought was a little bit different.
Right. If you have a good sense of rhythm and you can execute even just at a piddling level, you can, I know what you mean. You can mix it up. This is funny. I'm exactly the same way. I wax and wane how fast I can play. I'm a guitarist too, a musician, but I've always been obsessed with rhythm and very, extreme scenarios. In fact, I was listening to some of your songs. Listen, I'll be frank. I think this stuff is great.
Thank you so much.
I think the same reasons. It's got its foot pretty solidly in the prog rock, kind of style, but it's got those nuances which, are probably interesting to people who weren't schooled in it. But for even someone like me, it's really keeps your mind busy and, appeals to all your senses. So the rhythm is definitely one important thing. you guys change up meters a lot. You change up tempos, which is even more unusual. What's your approach
Right.
to changing tempos?
Well, it's funny. We've gotten so used to changing meters that we really don't even notice it. And I like if you have a pretty strong melody, something strong going on melodically around a meter change, it really kind of hides it and makes it feel a lot more natural.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, we're very accustomed now to playing in like 5 or 7. So it'll be pretty common to, try switching to something like that. But occasionally, the different meter at a same tempo will feel like, even though it's the same tempo, it might feel too slow or too fast. So we might end up having a slight tempo change, like say from 105 to 95, just to make it feel more natural.
Huh.
Internally. I'm sure there's probably some mathematical logic behind that, but
there is.
I am not grasping it yet.
There is. This is interesting. So this is one of the techniques I use all the time. I mean, I'm totally overeducated in music, so my gut and my knowledge kind of joined up at one point. That what you're describing there is what some people call metric modulation. So you know how when you modulate from a one key to a key that's related, there's usually a pivot chord or several that both keys have in common, which you use to kind of ease the transition. You can take the same analog by saying here's a tempo, whatever it is. I think the ones you described are probably related, where one value in this tempo, whatever it is, a 16th note triplet, whatever, has a common value in the other tempo. And then basically the note stays the same. Say you're going da, 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 da. Now I'm in da, 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 da. But then I could be da, 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 and the tempo is totally different. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure there's some stuff like that going on.
I'm sorry, that was ridiculously academic, but I'm just so excited to see someone doing this kind of neat stuff. And
oh no, actually, I don't find it academic at all. It's quite applicable to what we're doing.
Neat. Wow, cool. So, well, you moved to Oregon. So you're for music to find like-minded people. What was wrong with Arizona, and why Oregon?
Well, Arizona, I lived in Phoenix basically because I got hired by a game company there. So that was the only reason I lived there to begin with.
Computer game?
And although, there's... What's up?
Computer game company?
Yes.
Okay, right. You're a developer by your day job?
Right,
cool.
Exactly.
Okay.
So, I mean, there are some nice things about Phoenix, but it's very sprawled out. It's very hot, obviously.
Yeah.
And there's not much of a downtown scene, although they've tried to improve it. Certainly, there's no, obvious networks to plug into the music community. I can pretty much think of one famous band, Jimmy Eat World, that came from Mesa. But it's not really like there was any community surrounding that.
Yeah.
So it was a pretty frustrating place to try and be in a band. Portland, I guess, had an image as a very indie-friendly, a place with open-minded people.
Right.
And I think that's obviously what I felt like I needed for the kind of music I wanted to make.
Me.
And I guess I've been proved right and wrong, because I definitely have found some great people here. But overall, I'm a little bit surprised people aren't as open-minded as you might think. Certainly for a band that doesn't fit into any obvious genres, it's a little bit hard for people to figure out, whether it's cool to like you and stuff like that.
That's funny. I mean, I think I live near Boston. I think it's a similar scene. It's very, there's a very thriving, indie scene, but kind of music you and I are really into is always going to be on the edge, on the margin. And, there's a, like so many things, there's in the community, there's a extreme tolerance for things that are vary within a narrow band, but anything outside of that, you're always gonna have trouble.
Yes, yeah, it's certainly a difficult question to know how to make any sort of appeal to the mass market. So, I since I don't really know what to do with that, I tend to just look at people as individuals. And as individuals, gosh, there's some amazing, creative, open-minded, really great musicians here. And, we've found some bands lately that are even, semi-similar to us. So that's been a really great development.
Cool. Let's listen to a full track from the band's latest EP. This is called Running the Gamut.